Here we go. The best part of the year. We're finally getting into the best part of all the sports, playoff baseball, along with the NFL. But we're going to talk about playoff baseball today now that everything's been locked in. So basically, obviously, the brackets are up there on the screen for you, so you can take a look at this. What I want to talk about is just the wild card matchups, and then my predictions all the way through to the World Series of who's going to make it to the World Series. I'm not going to predict who's going to win the World Series because that would just be stupid. So first matchup, let's go into Boston and New York. Classic Boston and New York. Everybody kind of predicted that this was going to happen coming into today. I mean, I honestly thought the Rays were going to beat New York today. I didn't think they were going to let them win, but they did. And so, which was kind of, I think, bad for the Rays because I think New York can win this matchup. The last time New York played Boston, they swept them. So, and in 3 games, pretty easily too. And the last time they faced against Cole, they only scored 3 points, right? So, I think the way it is, I know it's in Boston this time. They played them the last time I played them was in Boston as well. Stanton had a huge game and a big series. It just comes down to which Garrett Cole shows up. I mean, Garrett Cole's been really good all year, but he's had his games where he just doesn't do well, right? And I also think that we're going to be looking at Eovaldi pitching. He looks to be the most ready. I know Sale pitched today, so we just don't really know kind of what's going on with that. But to be honest with you, I think New York wins that game barely. Now, if I'm Boston, I'm pissed that Tampa Bay even let them in. I know Tampa Bay tried their hardest and everything like that, but it's just not as good, right? So it's Boston versus New York, and you're talking about, I mean, who's got the better one pitcher? I mean, Boston already threw their ace today, and they only threw him 2 innings. 3 innings, really, two and a third. So if they're going to Eovaldi, Cole again, we already saw that a week ago. Not even a week ago. I mean, we saw that on the freaking 25th, the 24th. I mean, literally Friday, like a couple days ago. I mean, like 10 days ago, right? We already saw that matchup, and we already saw what the Yankees lineup does to somebody that throws hard like that. So when you look at something in this, I don't know if Boston's going to be able to scratch over the runs if Cole's on. The problem is if Cole is locating, Boston loses. Boston has to get to him early. I know they're hitting really well. Their roster's deep when it comes to overall hitting and stuff like that, and their depth chart and everything. But they're going to need to be carried hard by Devers and Bogarts. Actually, I take that back. Schwarber might be a dark horse in that matchup too, because he's just a clubber. He just clubs the crap out of the ball. He's a left-handed hitter. He hits velocity really well. I really like Schwarber in that matchup. Verdugo's been hitting pretty well too. JD Martinez, I can't rely on him. He's been injured lately. So it's going to have to be Devers and Schwarber to me. I mean, Devers carried him through the last couple series when they really needed to win to get into the playoffs. Now that they're hosting a wild card game, it's anything goes. I wouldn't be surprised if Boston loses. I'm going to pick New York to win this game just because it's Garrett Cole and he should win the Cy Young in the AL this year. That's the reason why I'm picking it. Because when you get into playoff baseball, it's not about who hits. It is about who hits. It is, but good pitching beats good hitting all day, every day, right? All day. And so what I'm looking at here is who's throwing. If it's Eovaldi versus Cole, I got Cole, right? The percentages say Cole's going to have a better day, just based on the numbers and everything like that. And they've already faced off a couple times this year, specifically most recently, 10 or so days ago, which Cole got the better of Eovaldi. So I don't understand what's going on here. With Boston, I don't know. I understand that Eovaldi hasn't pitched since, a couple weeks. So, 10 days. I mean, why throw Sale today? Seriously, he threw Tuesday last week. I know you want him to throw on 5 days rest and everything like that, and you want him to be ready for first game of the divisional series, but you're going to be in the wild card game. You already know that. You know you're not winning the division. I mean, the Rays locked that up weeks ago. Why not throw Eovaldi against a weaker team in the Nationals? Save Sale for a team that you're gonna need the pitching against. I mean, Cole versus Sale would have been a really good matchup, but instead we're getting Eovaldi versus Cole yet again. I don't really know kind of what we want to do. I know last time Eovaldi was out, he pitched a good game, but that's against Baltimore. Okay, And everything's pointing to me towards the Yankees. The Yankees have basically owned this series for the whole year. They got them pretty good in July and everything like that. But the Yankees, over the last times they played them, I mean, the Yankees have swept them in August. They swept them last time they played them. I mean, they haven't won a game against the Yankees in 8 games. I mean, there's something there. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, like the last time they won against the Yankees, they pitched Workman and Barnes. They had to have a comeback win to get it, right? And it just doesn't look good. So I'm not going to harp on that anymore. I know a lot of people are big for that matchup. It's going to be a great matchup. I think the better matchup is going to be the Cardinals and Dodgers. Just because the Dodgers are really good. They second best record in all baseball. The only reason they're not the first overall division winner is because the Giants just had a miraculous end of the year and came out and went crazy. But the Cardinals are only in this because they won 17 games in a row in September and started just running away with the wild card race, right? Now, I understand what we got going on here. They've already said the matchups here, or not really all the matchups, but we kind of basically already know. The Cardinals are rolling out Wainwright, which I like because he is the old veteran and he knows what he's doing and things like that. And he's kind of carried them through this whole thing. But he's probably going to be going up against Max Scherzer, who might be one of the biggest big game pitchers in the last 10 years. If the Dodgers play Max Scherzer, it's a close game. And the only reason why I say it might not be a close game, even whether, yada, 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 the Dodgers play. The Dodgers, Max Muncy got hurt today. So the Dodgers are kind of up in the air on who they're going to be playing at first base. Now, you can play, if you really want to, Albert Pujols, but he's old. Cody Bellinger, he hasn't really played well all year, right? The best thing that the Dodgers have going for them is they have an extremely deep team. They've always had a deep lineup. I'm not going to be surprised if it's Max Scherzer. Honestly, I believe it better be Max Scherzer. Buehler's not rested. Max Scherzer's easily the best option you have. You're going to slide in Cody Bellinger from where he's at in the outfield, put him at first if I was them, just because you want a lefty against Wainwright and that curveball. And then you just move Chris Taylor into center field if you need to. Gavin Lux only because he's hurt. AJ Pollock, but he's been playing left a lot recently. So it's going to be a really, really weird game. I'll be honest with you. The Max Muncy injury today on the last game of the season completely changes how this game is played. And in my opinion, I honestly believe that the Dodgers will come out and they'll win because of Max Scherzer. And the same thing for Garrett Cole, Max Scherzer, same thing. So when you're looking at this, and I'm going to go through this because it's a pitching thing. It's a pitching matchups. I'm going to go with the better pitchers in these single game series, right? Now, it's only single game. And so when we talk about this, I know usually the Cardinals are the Achilles heel of the Dodgers, and they've in the last couple times they face each other in the playoffs, they come out. But that's only really when Kershaw pitches. Kershaw's biggest issue is going up against the Cardinals. So he's kind of out. He's out with his forearm issue, so he's not really going to play. Mad Max was never on this LA team when they kept losing to the Cardinals. I got the Cardinals coming, or the Dodgers winning this. So if you go and you look, we got Tampa Bay versus New York, Chicago versus Houston. You got the NL basically division in the Giants and the Dodgers, and then you have the Braves and Milwaukee. So we're going to start with let's start with Tampa Bay and New York. Now Tampa Bay just basically almost swept New York. They've owned New York all year. If Cole's not available early, Tampa Bay wins this 3-1. Now they're going to scratch out a win because Tampa Bay, the way they play the game, specifically doesn't really lend itself to long playoff series and stuff like that. So we'll see how they do. I know they manufacture runs. They do a really good job of that. But today showed that if they're not hitting a home run or if they don't have a lot of power, they don't score a lot of runs, right? And so Yankees came out today and put it on them. I mean, not really put it on them, but they held them down really, really well. And so when you look at that and we look at the pitching matchups, I mean, who do they really actually throw? It wasn't even one of their best guys. So what makes me think that in an extended series where, you're throwing Jameson Taillon. Okay, I know Taillon's been pretty good. He's got a 4-something ERA this year. It's fine. but he's not. I mean, it's a different animal when you get into the playoffs here. So I'm thinking Tampa Bay, obviously because Garrett Cole is pitching tomorrow or Wednesday or Tuesday, whichever day they play on those days. I can't remember the thing. But because that's going on, the Yankees are put on the back burner. They're only going to get one game of Cole if they make it there, which means he's only going to pitch either Game 3 or Game 4. And if he pitches Game 3, they win Game 3. If he pitches Game 4, they're not going to be at Game 4 because they're not going to get to that point. So, honestly, I think Tampa Bay wins 3-1. They go to the CS Championship Series. I'm going to go down to the White Sox-Houston. This might be the best series of the entire playoffs. White Sox are unbelievable. They have really, really good depth across almost all positions. Their starting 9 is ridiculous, top to bottom. They have some of the best pitching in the AL. But you could say the exact same thing for the Houston Astros. You actually might be able to say a little bit better on the lineup side, but maybe not the pitching side. Now, I will give the nod to the White Sox just because of their bullpen. They tend to have a little bit better on the back end, which is the reason why I think the White Sox win this series 3-2, but it's going to be really close. Really close. All right. So then if we have Tampa Bay and Chicago, I got Chicago. Now I know a lot of people are going to say, it's Tampa Bay and they have 100 wins. It's the first time ever they've had 100 wins. But baseball is different when you get into this mindset, scratching out runs. It's not always about hitting home runs. You can't have 9 guys in your team that are hitting 240 and expect to win games all the time, right? The game changes in the way the game is played, and Tampa Bay Rays over the last couple of years have shown us in the playoffs that they do not know how to manage their pitchers and they do not know how to play playoff baseball. Now, I think that they're just a good enough team to beat New York in a 5-game series because Garrett Cole's not playing, and that's all they really have outside of that. But I honestly believe that the Chicago White Sox, with their roster, their bullpen, their starting guys, will be able to come out, do what they need to do, manufacture runs, hold people down. Maybe even they can outslug them as well. They hit just as many home runs as the Tampa Bay Rays. They have a better overall, maybe not a better overall bullpen. The Rays just have an amalgamation of a bunch of good pitchers. We just don't know who's going to be pitching when and everything like that, right? So you can throw things off of that at that point. But I think when it comes to overall baseball, you have a proven manager who's got postseason experience in Tony La Russa. I do like Cash for Tampa Bay, but I think that it's just overall the strategy that Tampa Bay comes out where they just take people out in the 5th inning. Like last year when they took Blake Snell out in the 6th inning, like the start of the 6th inning with only 70-something pitches, and he had a no-hitter going, and then they end up losing that game and losing the World Series, just lets you know that every single thing you needed to know about the Tampa Bay Rays and how they play playoff baseball. Playoff baseball and regular season baseball are 2 different animals. And the best thing I can ever think of that is the 2015 Royals, if you want to go back and look at them. The Kansas City Royals were not built, 2014 Royals. The 2014 Royals were not built to win games in the regular season. Okay, they were built to win 1 game at a time, scratch out runs, get ahead, get to the 6th, 7th inning, and then shut you down and play great defense. Okay, the team in the overall team that can do that the best in this playoff picture is the St. Louis Cardinals. The problem is they only have 1 game. They're playing against one of the best pitchers in baseball, so I don't think they make it. If the Cardinals win, they have a chance to go really far. But when you do it that way, and then in the regular season, they're losing games, they backed into the 2014 postseason. They won a couple games late, and they had a bunch of people lose a bunch of games in a row, and they barely got in as a wild card game. Then they played one of the best wild card games we've ever seen in the history of baseball. I was at that game. It was ridiculous. They clawed their way back. They played great defense. They gave up a huge lead. They came back. They ended up winning, and then they ended up sweeping their way to the World Series because they got to a point where they okay, this is how we win games. We win games by getting up 2 runs, getting to the 6th inning with our starters, and then hoping that Herrera, Davis, and Holland do what they do, and they did it every single time. The only problem was when they hit the Giants were better at that than they were. They were a more complete team. They could score runs. They could keep you from scoring runs. They had just as good of a bullpen. They did everything they want, and they had Madison Bumgarner, okay? Which is the same thing that I'm saying is Max Scherzer is going to be against the Cardinals as Madison Bumgarner was against the Royals. It just happens. You run up against the best pitcher in baseball at the time, there's not much you're going to be able to do. And I honestly believe the White Sox are going to do the exact same thing to the Rays because the Rays don't know how to adjust in the middle of a series. You can't keep bringing people out. They're really good at winning regular season games. and maintaining that. But when you get into we have to win this one game and one game only, and then we have to win the next game and the next game only because we don't know, they end up making poor decisions. So I think once they get into the dogfight with Chicago in the ALCS, they lose 3-2. Obviously, they're going to win some games. I'm not going to sit here and say that the White Sox are going to sweep them, but I think the White Sox win 3-2. Or I'm sorry, yeah, they win in Game 7. They win 4-3. It's not a 5-game series. It's a 7-game series. So they win 4-3. It goes to Game 7. It's in Tampa Bay. White Sox trot out all their guys, and they end up doing really well. Let's go to the NL because I'm not a big AL guy. I mean, I know they're good, but it's a huge thing of everybody's the exact same. They all play the game the exact same way. In the NL, we have the Giants and the Dodgers. Now, obviously, if you look on paper, the Dodgers should win every single matchup that they come against. They have easily one of the best lineups in baseball, easily one of the best rotations in baseball, but for some reason they lose games, especially to the Giants. Now, Logan Webb is coming out to be one of the best pitchers we've seen in a long time. His power sinker is unbelievable. He works the bottom half of the zone. He's got a really, really good sinker changeup, which is, it's hard to say because almost all changeups sink, but it's a power changeup, which is weird. He throws about 87 mile an hour. It's more like a splitter, but it's got the rotation of a circle change. And so it makes him almost impossible to hit when he's throwing well. So they should be able to pick up at least 2 games with Logan Webb. Now, he did throw today, but they got a couple of days off. I mean, he should be ready to go when that series starts. And the NLCS is going to start, or NLDS will start October 8th. Okay, so he's got a good couple days. He's got 5 days. He should be ready to go. Game 1, he's all good. So if he gets 2 games, which he should get 2 games, then they just have to scratch out one more win against him. Now, I will tell you that the Dodgers have an unbelievable. I mean, they have an unbelievable lineup. I understand you got Max Scherzer pitching today. Urias pitches the next day. Then you got Walker Buehler pitching the next day. Then you got Max Scherzer coming back the next. I mean, you just have an unrelenting line of all-star pitchers and all-star players coming from the Dodgers. But I feel like the Giants have their number. I feel like the Giants win this 3-2, move on to the NLCS just because of the way they match up against the Dodgers. The Dodgers are, on paper, the best team in baseball, but for some reason the Giants just have figured them out all year. And I think they're going to do it again. Now, the Braves, Milwaukee Brewers, honestly, I don't think this is close. The Braves have not been playing well all year, and then all of a sudden they started playing well. They stopped playing well when Acuna Jr. went down for the year, who's, in my opinion, one of the best hitters, if not the best hitter in baseball at the current moment. And the Brewers are really good, but they tend to play a different style of baseball, more of that Royal style we were talking about earlier. And the way the Cardinals play is, we're gonna scratch out some runs. We're gonna play good defense. We have really good pitching and a lockdown bullpen. The problem with them playing against the Atlanta Braves is the Atlanta Braves can go bridge on you at any time. At any time, almost every single person in the lineup can hit a 450-foot home run. And so when you're facing up against that, and you have some unproven guys in your starting pitching, there's going to be some mistakes made. Do the Braves have some unproven guys in their pitching rotation? Yes, they do. But do they have more proven guys than the Brewers? Yes, they do. Charlie Morton is a really good starter. He's going to give you some solid. He's won a World Series before. He's a very solid guy. And then I like Max Fried a lot. Honestly, I believe he's going to be one of the better lefties in the entire league soon. We just got to wait for him to stay healthy for an entire year, which is very difficult to do for Max Fried apparently. But other than that, I mean, they have a lot of guys that know what they're doing. Their entire offense has been here before. Everyone on their team knows what they're doing, and every now and then, like Freddie Freeman is going to be the guy there. Freddie Freeman will eventually just go yard one time, and the addition of Eddie Rosario to this lineup has made them unbelievable. Now, would they have gotten Eddie Rosario if Acuna Jr. doesn't go down? No. Would they have gotten Jorge Soler if Acuna Jr. doesn't go down? No. Everybody's going to laugh at me when I say Jorge Soler has actually solidified the lineup for them. He's hitting leadoff. He's actually hitting really, really well. If we look at his numbers this year, he has 27 home runs. It's pretty good. 70 RBIs. OPS is 740. That's not good. He's hitting 223. But lately, he's been going off and setting them up. And he's actually been setting up Ozzie Albies and Freddie Freeman to do what they need to do afterwards. Now, he is starting to play his role, which I'm not saying that he's going to be the guy that wins them the series against the Brewers, whatever. It's really going to be Morton and Fried that do that. It wouldn't be surprised, though, if Freddie Freeman has a couple home runs in that series, and we go from there. So now we're looking at Giants-Braves. I think it depends on the matchups. I think so I got the Braves beating the Brewers 3-1, and then it depends on the pitching matchups at this point, right? If Logan Webb and the Giants can match up and get to a point where their starting ones are against the Braves starting ones, they beat them. And I know it's one of those things where I don't think anybody that I've ever talked to about baseball this year had the Giants winning the division and the best record in baseball. Honestly, I didn't even have them getting in second in the division. Everyone had the Padres as second and the Dodgers winning just based on the numbers before the season started. Whatever they did in San Francisco, I'll give them credit for that. Logan Webb has come out and just started going crazy. If Logan Webb can start game one and he's ready to go and rested on full normal days rest and he can start game one, Giants win that series 4-2. Braves only scratch out 2. Giants win that 4-2. And I think that's on the back of Brandon Crawford and Evan Longoria just having a little bit more experience. Buster Posey, I mean, he's won 3 championships with them. A lot of these guys know what it takes to win championships, and I think they do, right? So then we have Chicago and the Giants in my thing in the World Series. And, I mean, I guess I can talk about that, the prediction of that. I'm not going to go into it big time, but I got Chicago winning it if that's the case, right? If the Giants face anybody but if they face so anybody on the bottom half of the AL bracket, if they make it to the World Series, they win. So if it's either Chicago or Houston, if they make it to the World Series, they win because they have an overall complete lineup. They have really, really good starting pitching and really good bullpen. Anybody else, I got the Giants winning it. Right now, obviously, I have the Giants beating the Dodgers. If the Dodgers beat the Giants are winning the entire thing. The problem is they're running into the biggest buzzsaw that they've had all year, which is a team that keeps just figuring them out every single time they play them. And so that's a big thing in baseball. These teams have already played almost 20-something times, if not more, the entire season. This is one of the biggest rivalries in all of baseball. San Francisco Giants, Los Angeles Dodgers. Used to be Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Giants. This is literally old school baseball rivalry at its best. And if that becomes the series, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some riots at the games. I mean, a couple of years ago, some Giants fan got thrown off the bleachers and almost died at a Dodgers game. I know things are crazy, but we're talking about playoff baseball here. Anything can happen. I like the Giants coming out of the AL or the NL. I like the White Sox coming out of the AL. I've seen them all play. I've seen a lot of these teams play in person this year before. If for some reason the Giants beat the Dodgers or the Dodgers beat the Giants, whoever wins that series wins the entire NL. And then whoever wins the Chicago-Houston, they're going to win the entire AL, in my opinion. And if the Dodgers make it, they win. If the Dodgers don't make it, the AL is going to win. It's either going to be Chicago or Houston. Those are my picks, honestly, on the World Series and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about what's going to happen with the playoffs. This is the best time of the year for me. I'm a huge baseball guy. I obviously played baseball. So, but we're going to be doing some casting of the wild card games. I have my brother coming on here. He also played college baseball, collegiate baseball at a high level. I played at a high level. We played different positions. He was a very good hitter and a pitcher. I was just a pitcher. And so we're going to basically, kind of watch the games and talk to each other and kind of review and kind of go over, baseball talk like most people would talk about when they're in the dugout and, things like that. So we're going to have a few of those coming up in the next couple of weeks. So watch out for that. And then we're going to be watching kind of what we did. I know football is still going on right now today. We're recording this during football, and obviously we did not do very well today. So a lot of teams came out, and they kind of changed that. So we'll go over our matchups again next week, and we'll go from there. So, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how we did. Let us know if there's anything you're looking forward to on the baseball. And